Hi, Alicia. We'll go through these and talk about them. I think you're just not understanding what they want because they're pretty simple. On this one, they just want you to write this as a product of two things. So here you got 3n plus 25 divided by 68. But we can break that into a multiplication problem, is all, by taking the numerator and sticking it over 1 and multiplying that by the denominator under 1. Okay? So you would agree that if we multiply this out, we multiply the top, 3n plus 25 times 1 would give me back 3n plus 25, and 1 times 68 would bring me back 68. So all they're wanting you to do is rewrite this as a multiplication product. So you're going to take your numerator, stick it over 1 times 1 over your denominator. Similarly, in this one, we have another fraction type problem. They just want you to write the division as a multiplication. So in order to understand this one, let's look back at how we multiply fractions. Remember, when you multiply a fraction, the first number stays the same. We change division to multiplication, and then we take the reciprocal of the second thing, okay? And remember what a reciprocal is. You move the top to the bottom to the top. If you don't remember that, we will get to it in class. But the bottom is going to come to the top, 4, and the top to the bottom, over 3. And now you can just multiply those and get 4 over 6. Okay? So again, here we have a division problem, 14 divided by 19. So we can keep the first number as is. We can change the division to multiplication. And now I'm going to take the reciprocal of the second thing. Well, it's just 19, but we can write 19 as 19 over 1. And if we do, we move the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top, so the reciprocal is just 1 over 19. There again, we've changed the division problem and written it as a multiplication problem. You can also think of this problem the same way as you do the first one you ask about. If we write this 14 divided by 19, or 14 over 19, we can again write it as the product of two fractions. We can take the first number over 1 times the second number over the denominator. Finally, the last one you ask about is this one, and you keep getting a decimal, which is fine, but they want it in fraction form. So remember, when we're multiplying, we're just going to multiply all the numerators and multiply all the denominators. But there is one shortcut here. If you can reduce something from top to bottom, then you want to do that. For example, here I ended up with 4 over 6. I can pull a 2 out of the top and the bottom, and I end up with 2/3. That's probably the most simplified. That is the most simplified answer. So similarly here, if I can pull something out of the top and the bottom, I want to go ahead and do that, and that will just simplify my final answer. Well, I notice here that I have a 21. 21 goes into 21 once, and a 42. 21 goes into 42 twice. So instead of multiplying 15 times 21, I can just multiply 15 times all these ones because I was able to simplify. 21 goes into 21 once. 21 goes into 42 twice. And now I'm just going to multiply through all my denominators. 15 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 15. We're going to talk about this later in class, but depending on the number of negative signs will tell you whether this is going to be positive or negative. If you have an odd number, it's going to be negative. If you have an even number, it's going to be positive. So I see I have 1, 2, 3. That's an odd number, so it's going to be negative. And then in my denominator, I end up with 2 times 8 times 17 times 17. Well, I'm going to have to use my calculator for that. 2 times 8 is 16 times 17 times 17 gives me 4,624. And now that should be reduced as far as I can because I wasn't able to reduce anything else before I multiplied it through. So this is the answer you're looking for. Again, if you're struggling with these, we will get to them in class, but I did want to send you some help in the meantime. So if you have other questions, please feel free to ask them.